Welcome to this episode of The Story. Have you subscribed yet? Chapter 118. Insights into stabilizing spiritual power and the opportunity for fusion. Spiritual power raged within Lingxi town. Sumu stood at the center of the storm with his reverse time spiritual power locked in a stalemate with the Fenghuang gushing spiritual power of the spring. He knew well that if he couldn't stabilize the spring soon, the entire town would face imminent destruction. Sumu endured the severe pain from the spiritual power backlash, sinking his consciousness into his body to manipulate the reverse time spiritual power in a more delicate manner. Instead of trying to forcibly suppress the spring's spiritual power, he followed its flow direction and carefully guided it. The reverse time spiritual power, like a soft yet tough thread, gently wrapped around the Huangbao spring energy. It must succeed. Sumu rolled in his heart, his clothes soaked with sweat, beads as large as beams rolling down his forehead. Through Sumu's efforts, the Fenghuang spring spiritual power finally showed signs of easing. The previously unruly Sichu Chongji Yin power began to gather into a relatively orderly torrent under the guidance of the reverse time spiritual power. In Lingxi town, the houses that had been teetering under the impact of the spiritual power temporarily stopped collapsing, and the townsfolk who had been drawn into the spiritual power whirlpools managed to break free as the power weakened. Everyone, don't let your guard down. This isn't over yet. Although the great elder saw that the situation had improved slightly, his years of experience told him that danger still lurked. Sumu didn't slack off in the least. While stabilizing the spring's spiritual power, he gained insights into the fusion techniques through the interaction between the two forces. He discovered that although reverse time spiritual power and the spring spiritual power seemed incompatible, they could resonate thickly at certain specific frequencies. It was like two zithers with different tones striking a harmonious note in a fleeting moment. To seize this fleeting opportunity for fusion, Sumu constantly adjusted the frequency of his reverse time spiritual power. He closed his eyes tightly, fully immersed in the world of spiritual power, turning a deaf ear to everything outside. At this moment, he seemed to be cut off from the chaos of Lingxi town, devoting his entire being to this merging of spiritual powers. Outside Lingxi town, some perceptive cultivators detected the abnormal spiritual power fluctuations here. That's the direction of Lingxi town. Something extraordinary must be happening there. With such powerful and disorderly spiritual power fluctuations, could it be that a high-level magical artifact has appeared? A passing road cultivator's eyes flickered with greed as he stopped in his tracks. Inside Lingxi town, Sumu's attempts were not smooth sailing. Every time he adjusted the frequency of his reverse time spiritual power to be close to resonating with the spring's spiritual power, an unknown force would interfere, causing the two to repel each other again. But Sumu didn't lose heart. He readjusted time and time again. It must be possible. I can find that perfect point of convergence. Sumu's Xingyan remained firm in his heart. Finally, after countless attempts, the reverse time spiritual power and the spring spiritual power resonated strongly. The unknown interfering force was suppressed at this moment. The spring's spiritual power, like a docile lamb, began to obey Sumu's command, slowly merging with the reverse time spiritual power. In Lingxi town, the originally raging glow of spiritual power gradually softened, and there was no longer a scene of Fenghuang gushing spiritual power around the spring. The townsfolk and cultivators watched this magical scene, their tension and fear gradually fading away. Sumo did it. He successfully stabilized the spring's spiritual power. A young cultivator shouted excitedly. However, Sumo knew that this was only the first step towards successful fusion. Although the reverse time spiritual power and the spring's spiritual power were resonating and beginning to merge at this moment, there were still many unknown challenges to truly complete the fusion. Moreover, the powerful spiritual power fluctuations just now must have attracted the attention of the outside world. Those with ill intentions were probably already heading toward Lingxi town. But Sumo had no time to worry about these things. He had to seize this rare resonance state and push forward to complete the spiritual power fusion in one go. He once again focused all his energy on the fusion of the spiritual powers within his body, putting everything outside out of his mind. After experiencing this chaos, the people of Lingxi town successfully complete the spiritual power fusion and bring new hope to Lingxi Town. The story continues. More exciting content is coming up. Subscribe as soon as possible.